So today you're watching Spiritual Combat. My name's Mike, and what today's show is going to be about is the American injustice system, or the so-called justice system, and they call it the criminal justice system, and that's exactly what it is, where criminals get justice and the just get injustice. Oh, but I just wanted to, go through a couple things because I came across a couple articles today, and they just really made me start thinking. And if you let it, if you're not in the knowledge of the truth, and it'll get you frustrated, which it has a lot of people because they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand what the solution is. So what we'll do, I'm gonna go to this video. We'll go to this article real quick, and it really got me frustrated. And it's from this. Now this is from February, but if you remember, the cops, they barged in, served a warrant and barged in this place. I think it was the wrong place. I'm not sure, but anyway, they barged in this place, and it says cop who shot and killed sleeping 7-year-old girl no longer facing any charges. Okay. And I really had to start thinking about that. I was like, you know you know, what is that saying? And one of the things I always say is, our people, black people, we need to stop listening to what's being said and start watching actions, and then you'll see a lot. So, like that article says, it says, cop who shot and killed sleeping 7-year-old girl. So, an innocent person was murdered, period. You know, in the story, and no justice is served. The justice system is a joke, and what happens, you know, they have all these tricks and all this ambiguity. Like, for instance, I had a friend who went to Georgetown, and I'll never forget, like, he went off to Georgetown and they put him through these philosophy courses and all these courses to basically kind of take away your morals, or, hey, put you in this mindset, well, hey, anything goes, it could be this way or that way. They want to just take away your moral judgment so you would be able to represent a murderer who did the murder, but you'd be able to, represent him, as a lawyer, when, they take away your conscience, so with no conscience and not feel guilty. But again, it's just so obvious the justice system is a joke. I mean, a 7-year-old girl was murdered, and for no reason. Why isn't there punishment? It's as simple as that. What? Why you have to beat around the bush and go through all this stuff? And that's why I think it's such a good thing with these, particularly with the Castile shooting, and then with that shooting in Miami, where in the Castile shooting, his girlfriend was immediately very vocal about. She put it out there to the public about exactly what happened. Put the story out there. Same thing with the Mike Brown shooting. He got up there, the dude Dorian immediately walked right up to the news people and told his story right there to everybody. Got it out before it could be covered up. Same thing with the shooting in Miami. The news people came in and he said, the guy was laying in bed, still injured, and got his story out, to the public, because otherwise, you know, they're gonna keep you quiet. Oh, you can't talk until this thing goes through trial or whatever they do. The lawyer tells them to be quiet, whatever, and then, you know, because the justice system isn't gonna bring any justice, but you know, and I'm not saying put the story out there so some crazy dude could go get justice and start killing cops. That's not going to work. Although I understand their thinking, because what you're going to see in this article I'm going to pull up is the people on the other end don't have a clue what we're frustrated about. Not a clue. So let me pull that up. Okay, and I highlighted the part. It says the people's new, and what they're talking about is these groups, militant black groups and all that. And it says the People's New Black Panther Party and the Wichita Nation have vastly different ideologies and no direct ties to each other, but they are part of a broad landscape of black nationalist groups playing a role in America's violent summer of 2016. And it's like, what the heck are you talking about? I mean, these groups had nothing to do with it. Y'all shooting people on video and still getting off has something to do with it. Y'all killing 7-year-old girls and who are sleeping and getting over with it, serving no time, is what has to do everything with it. You know, it has everything to do with it. You know, it ain't Black Lives Matter. It ain't these militant groups. It's your actions that are causing innocent cops to get shot. You know, so I mean, this like the second video I've done on this because it's just so shocking. And my thing is, you know, it's pointless to explain. You got Black Lives Matter people out there shouting and screaming. Like I saw in Baton Rouge after that dude had got killed, but before the cops had got shot, this girl was out there like screaming, crying, all passionate, emotional in the cop's face. Why, when are you gonna stop? And all this emotion and passion, you know, and all these die-ins and protests and all this crap. And the guy's laying in the street with his hands up on his back, and he still gets shot. A kid who's obviously autistic with a toy gets shot by a sniper, you know. Well, not a sniper, by a SWAT officer. But I was listening to Pastor Dow, and he used to be pararescue, and he was saying how they used to train the SWAT and how these guys train with those guns every day. And you tell me you couldn't hit, the dude was kind of fat, and you couldn't hit this dude? It's like, what the? And then why are you trying to shoot a autistic kid anyway? It's, you know, and then they wonder why. And the reason they're wondering why is because Fox News, that story of the guy laying in the street with his hands up, wasn't even anywhere on their website where you could even find it. It's down there in the bottom left corner somewhere in lowercase letters or something. You know, it's not like that, but they put it way down on the page where, you know, you're really not going to catch it. The stuff at the top is all this political stuff, attacking Obama and Hillary and all this crap. And, you know, you wonder why there's a big divide, you know. And then that black sheriff gets up there and basically says cops are God and they could do no wrong, and you should, bow down and lick cops' boots for the greatness they do. It's like, dude, what's wrong with you? You're messed up. Your mind is not right. Open your brain, open your mind up. Get some awareness. Stop being so one track. You could tell it worked for him. It has worked good for him to be one-minded like that. It's benefited him, not anybody else, and definitely not his people. But anyway, so yeah, it's just very frustrating. So after I read that, because that kind of pissed me, because my daughter's 7, man, and I can't even think that. And they would call me a radical if they came in, shot, and killed my daughter, and they didn't get any justice. They call me a radical for what I would want to do afterwards, So anyway, all right, so let me see. Yeah, that just, man. And I think this was there were 2 incidents like that, man. And just look at, man, hold on. And they got the picture up there, man. That, you got a daughter. That gotta piss you off, man. So anyway, this the other one. Okay, this is I didn't adjust the volume on this, but it should be all right. Anyway, this is the man who filmed the Alton Sterling shooting. Okay, so this is more about this wicked justice system. This is why I say don't listen to what the justice system says. Watch what it does. Okay, so listen.
Tonight involving the Atlanta man who helped the video of a deadly police shooting go viral. We first told you last week that after he posted that video on social media, police arrested him on charges that never existed. More than 2 weeks later, he's not yet able to return to work. Channel 2's Taisha Fernandez is live at the DeKalb County Jail this hour. He was held there for 26 hours. Taisha?
Jovita, when he sat inside this jail, he said he knew all he had was unpaid tickets. He and his attorney believe he was arrested simply for posting a video that many people did not want to go viral.
There aren't any charges. He never had a warrant for an assault. My client has never had any criminal history.
Just 24 hours after Christopher Leday posted this video of Alton Sterling being shot and killed by Baton Rouge officers, police here arrested him while at work at Dobbins Air Force Base in Marietta. He was told he was going to jail for assault and battery charges. He and his attorney say those charges never existed.
No, they never showed a warrant for an assault to my client. In fact, my client was held at DeKalb County Jail for at least 26 hours, and they never produced a warrant.
Leday's attorney, Tiffany Simmons, told us when no one could come up with a warrant, she was told her client was being held for unresolved traffic tickets, which he admitted he owed.
He did pay those before he was released from DeKalb County.
After that, Leday, a father of 3, tried to go back to work at Dobbins, but officials at this gate told him he still has security clearance issues.
So anyway, you see the legal system. It's an oppression system. It's a disaster, and again, it's a mess. And they wonder why, these people are just flipping out, doing crazy stuff, going out shooting people. And of course, I'm not going to just sit here and point out the problems. I'm going to offer the solution. And it involves that. So, but anyway, one more video real quick. And this is in Baltimore. And it's right along the same lines. Let me get this one going.
It's 5:05 right now. More community frustration in the Western District. People who live there say they're tired of being overlooked, and police say they're doing everything they can to try and protect and serve. This was the scene at a news conference yesterday in West Baltimore with community leaders and activists from the Western District speaking out about what they call a lack of attention and protection from police. police say it's not lost on them that violence has been plaguing the area.
We are very displeased what we consider to be the lack of service, the lack of protection that our community is receiving.
There are very few people coming into communities to commit crime. Some of them are present in the community. So we have to work together.
After the riots last year, state and federal officials pledged to spend millions of dollars to help areas like West Baltimore. Community leaders say more still needs to be done to try and keep the peace there.
Okay, so and that brings me right to what we really need to talk about is, hey, what's the solution? What's the answer? You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not going out killing the cops. We gotta get our own communities together. So what's the answer? Well, I'll tell you one thing is it's not going out protesting, trying to get them to understand and trying to get them to ease up and do all that. It's getting a hardcore group of people teaching the commandments in that Bible, and that would bring us together. We got you, and even at a more basic level than that, where the step one is getting your mind right. When you get your mind right, and you got a group of people who have gotten their mind right, they gotten the spirits and all the wicked stuff out of their mind and the stuff that prevents them from coming together, and they get in line with this word. Once your mind is right, you done got off the drugs. You're not having these crazy thoughts. You done got over the anger and all the crazy stuff that happens to people, the molestation and you name it, but you done got your mind straightened out through the word. Once you get your mind right and you got a group of people who got their mind right, you don't have to tell them how to organize. You don't have to tell them how to do business and economics and be brothers and sisters to each other and stick together as a neighborhood and as a nation. You don't have to teach all that. All that's going to come, it's going to naturally come. But you got all these people, and you're not going to have to run to external sources to police you and to govern you and to manage you as a nation, as a group of people, and to help you rebuild your community. And the federal government said they gave us money for this, that, and other. You ain't gonna need them to police your neighborhoods. I listened to one pastor, and he's talking about how these Jewish community, like the Jewish people, they live in their own neighborhoods and they police their own neighborhoods. And they were saying how if they see a black person walking through there, they'll come pick you up with that van and wear you out. You see what I'm saying? Because they're cohesive. They got their minds right and they're a tight-knit group, And that's what we need to do. And that's the so-called Jews, the Khazars. That's what they do. They police their own neighborhoods, and a lot of other things. You know how they do with business and everything else. But that's what we got to do. We got to get our minds right first. And the only way to get your mind right, to get off the drugs, to cast out the demons that have been put there through molestation or sexual depravity, whatever type of sexual sin done jack your mind up or mess up relationships or screwed up families, broken families. The only way to get all that stuff right is getting in the word, praying, fasting, seeking the Lord. I say this all the time. Like, that's how I got my mind right. I was struggling with alcoholism and porn addiction and all that stuff like that. And the way I got my mind right was praying and not saying these old long Catholic prayers and stuff like that, but just speaking to God about what was really going on deep in my heart and putting it out there and saying, hey, I can't fix it, you know, but praying, fasting, and not just from food, but I did fast from food, but fast from being around certain people, from watching TV, just cut. You know, you might not be able to get over the crazy thoughts you got going in your mind or whatever's plaguing you, the depression or whatever it is. You might not be able to give that up as a sacrifice, but you can give up a meal or two. I seen a bunch of y'all. Y'all could give up a meal or 6, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, fasting, fast from TV, fast from going places and hanging out, you know, give up something. And, so praying, fasting, and seeking the Lord, reading that word. If you reading the word and you just dozing off, falling asleep, study. Find somebody teaching the word. There's plenty of videos. You got my videos. They're here and they're on Facebook, Spiritual Combat. And there's plenty of other people teaching the truth. But that's how you're going to get your mind right. Praying, fasting, seeking the Lord. And once your mind gets aligned and you fill it with this word, you're going to know how to be a nation and police yourself and move on to even greater things. And it's in that Bible. It's prophesied. It's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. This is what I'm doing, what I'm working towards is part of that, is waking up the tribes of Israel, waking them up. And we got to get our minds right. And these shootings and all this stuff and these killings and the black on black crimes and all that stuff and the shootings from the cops and being over police is going to keep happening. It's going to keep getting worse until a group of people, a group of us, a large group of us wake up and realize who we are. Because what we're going to come to, we're going to realize eventually is we've tried everything. We tried the Black Lives Matter. We tried being black extremists and shooting the cops back, and they shoot us even more. You know, we tried this, we tried that, we tried the other, and then we're going to try this for real. And I'm not talking about them silly churches that are on every corner in the black communities and that don't tell you anything. They don't teach that. They teach this. They trying to get that from you, you know? They don't care if you sin or get destroyed or whatever, you know. But yeah, you got to get under some people, you know, teaching the word for real and cling to it, man. That's what I did, man. I knew my mind wasn't right, you know, and it was getting to the point, you know, I was doing so much stuff in this world, you know. And for me, what I was doing, by all intents and purposes, the way my life was going was perfect. You know, I was married, I had kids. You know, I had my job that I was working, you know, aircraft mechanic, and on the side I was DJing. I go out every Friday, DJing, drinking, partying, you know, making extra money. You know, everything was good, but shoot, I was still depressed and unhappy, you know. I felt empty, you know. So, and then you got people who live in these neighborhoods and they're just oppressed, you know. You damn near can't live in this world today, in this society. You can't live in this society without being on either some type of drug or alcohol, something to, you know, addicted to some type of chemical, or you're doing something to self-medicate the pain, you know, because of this you know, this wicked, deceived society, you know. But yeah, so that's the answer, man. That's where we need to start at, is getting our minds right, you know. Got to get your mind right, get it lined up with the Bible, and then everything else just comes naturally, you know. And part of getting your mind right, the step after that is, once you realize what the truth is and what this Bible's really saying, the next thing you're going to do is pull out of this society and all the stuff, you know, the crap on television is going to lose its taste and lose its desire to you, you know, and that's a big way of how they program us. And then another funny thing let me see if I can find this real quick. Yeah, here it is right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oops. Okay. So this is the game. Okay. Now look at this silliness.
Last year in the city of Los Angeles, almost 1,000 people were shot. Almost 300 of them died.
We have to be more positive. We have to stop killing one another.
80% of the victims and 80% of the shooters.
I mean, you gotta laugh. I mean, you got to laugh. What is the game doing, man? He hooking up with the cops. And that's how confused we are. The music he make, he's a music artist. He has control of the most powerful tool you could have. The music industry is what gives us our culture today. There's no fathers. Majority of the homes where all this violence goes on, there's not a father there. A father gives identity to the child, to the children. The father's not there. So what's the next step to give them identity? The music. The music gives us our culture. And he making the very music that's causing the violence. I mean, you put, like I say this all the time, they had Christian religious rapper rapping to Lil Wayne, one of Lil Wayne's beats, and he was hitting it better than Lil Wayne was. It's not the lyrics and what you're saying. It's the melody of your voice and the melody of the song that opens your spirit up, and then you just sing the words in, and then the words stick in your brain and program you, But it just trips me out. It's like, why you got to go to cops, do this corny video that the thug dude's gonna be like, man, the thug dudes hate the daggone cops, so it's not gonna reach anybody. Ain't gonna penetrate nothing. It ain't gonna do nothing. He has hold of the most powerful weapon to change our people, the music. So start making positive music to wake our people up. It's, so I hope he sees this, because it's that simple. I mean, and the other thing, look at the people who control the music. It's not us. Our people don't control the music. We don't own those companies. We don't have a say in what, you're going to put out. You have a little one, but it better be along this lines of destroying your people. Totally backwards, man. So yeah, man, he needs to go cut an album instead of making these stupid videos with cops, And it ain't gonna change nothing. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just seen that one part and I was like, what the heck? Let's finish it. It's only 30 seconds. I'm gonna start it over. All right.
Last year in the city of Los Angeles, almost 1,000 people were shot. Almost 300 of them died.
We have to be more positive. We have to stop killing one another.
80% of the victims and 80% of the shooters were young men of color.
Humanity, it has to resurface.
It's time for a change. It's time to stop the violence.
So this is my stand, a positive stand, to unite.
You can be the difference, be the change.
Let's unite, stop the violence, be the change.
And my thing is, hey man, cut a song. Cut a daggone song, man. That's gonna go a lot further than this silly video here. and he not even being himself. He trying to speak proper English, and I listen to his songs, and he talking like a straight, you know, gangster soldier. Man, sing some positive unite songs. Use your talent, man. This video is like he doing that for white folks or something, man. If you want to reach them people, if he's serious, and I'm not counting him out yet, if he's serious, he'll cut an album for, you know, if he's serious, he'll cut an album. He'll cut an album, you know, about this. So I'm going to watch close to see if his next album got some songs on it or is all about unity. Same with Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg walked down to the police station with the game or whatever and demanded something. So we'll see. Because, I mean, Snoop Dogg did more to destroy, I mean, the Chronic or whatever his first album was, man, Gin and Juice, whatever it was, that album did more to destroy us than any, you know, public service announcement he gonna do. So they got their wires crossed. Uncross them wires, cut some albums that are positive and that, you know, motivate black folks, just like in the early 90s when all that stuff was coming out. And with derailed that whole movement in the early 90s was the music industry got bought out by another group of people, and they took our whole music over in the early 90s. And then by the end of the 90s, it was all straight gangster, murder, kill, get smoked out, this, that, and the other, you know? So anyway, so that's my 2 cents. But at the end of the day, you got to get your mind right and use that word. But let me see if I have anything else here.
Everybody aware.
And no, that's about it. But yeah, so anyway, I hope you know, I hope he cuts an album. If he does, he does. If not, oh well, because this movement, particularly the Hebrew Israelite movement, is that valley of dry bones. That's a good thing to read right there, where it talks about those. He tells them to prophesy upon those bones, and it's talking about Israel and how those bones slowly begin to, you know, the marrow and everything begins to go back on the bones, and they slowly begin to come back together and turn into, you know, a living human again. You know what I'm saying? And we're in the early, I think we're kind of in the early stages of that, because you got all these different Hebrew Israelite camps, and they're kind of against each other. They haven't all came together. They're still getting the marrow on the bone, and the muscle and the ligaments are coming on them. And it's slowly, you know, we slowly waking up, you know, wiping our eyes and yawning and just slowly waking up. So, but anyway, I hope this video was, hold on. Yeah, I hope this video was informative to you. And check out some of my other videos. I've been constantly uploading videos to YouTube. I'm gonna upload more. Also, I have a whole bunch of videos on Spiritual Combat on my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I've been uploading videos to Facebook and doing new ones live on Facebook. So check those out. And let me see. I think that's it. So check those out. And all right. So anyway, I hope this video was informative. Share it. Get the word out. Check out my other videos. Check out the ones on YouTube. And have a nice day.